pedal from a local Greensboro company, MegaTone amps, also DJL Vintage audio, DJL Vintage audio. I'll get it right in a minute. Excuse this video today. My normal camera broke down today, so we're trying something new. I'm using iPhone footage plus footage from my MacBook Pro. Going to edit it together, and hopefully it's going to turn out okay. But we'll see if anything's usable out of it or not. The Rangemax pedal from MegaTone amps is basically their version of revisiting an old booster pedal from around about the 60s. It was the Dallas Rangemaster treble booster. The Dallas Rangemaster treble booster wasn't actually a pedal. It was a little box, probably about this big, but it shared a lot of the aesthetics that this pedal has on it, like the musical notes right here. But what it was is it was a signal booster. It wasn't really an overdrive pedal, and as far as it being called a treble booster, it didn't actually per se boost treble, because when you think of something with the name treble booster in front of it, you think of a pedal that turns your signal real high indie and shrill, and that's not really necessarily the case. Basically what it did is it took what your guitar had going on, whatever the basic tone of your guitar and your amp were, and it gave you more, and true to that design, that's what this pedal does also. The Rangemaster Treble Booster was one of the pedals that most notably was used by Eric Clapton, especially around about the Cream era. And also, not as well known was that Brian May of Queen also used the Dallas Rangemaster Treble Booster pedal up till around about the mid-70s, in which at a show his treble booster was stolen, and then he moved on to some of the different treble boosters that were out there. And I just said that just to give you kind of a little bit of history about where this pedal comes from. Now, there are a lot of people that seek this pedal out. It's kind of like one of those, people who are in the know really want to have one. Unfortunately, a real Dallas Rangemaster treble booster is very hard to come by, and if you do happen to come by one, you're going to have to part with a couple of bucks, probably $500-600 or more for this particular piece of kit. The Rangemax by MegaTone amps, this is actually, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is their 3rd generation version here. No, I'm lying. This is the 2nd generation. The first one it came out with had a volume knob and a grit knob, and then it had a tone toggle around about here. There was also a switch on it, a toggle switch for the gain structure. I think one was the higher gain and lower gain. Now when you say high gain and low gain with this pedal, to me it's kind of it's all in the wording. You have to look in conjunction of where this pedal is coming from. This pedal is coming from the 60s. I don't think anyone would argue that as turbocharged as Eric Clapton's Cream sound was back then, that is not necessarily what it would be considered a high gain tone by today's standard. But get back to this, back to the Rangemax. Dale, what he's done here is he's managed to retain a lot of the original aesthetics of the original pedal, or actually the original box. And with this newer version, what he's done is he's eliminated all the extra knobs and switches that he had on the first version of this pedal and replaced it with just one knob and an on-off switch. And to note, the original Rangemax box, that's how it was. It was one knob and didn't have a foot switch because it wasn't a foot pedal, but it had an on-off switch on it, and that's all it had. What he's done is he took the grit control from his previous design, dialed it into what him and his tone council considered to be the sweet spot, set the switches to where they considered to be the sweet spot, which would have been, I think, if I'm not mistaken, up position in the high gain and in the treble booster mode. I believe that's right. and they just went ahead and just wired the pedal to already be set for the sweet spots. All you have to do is just tweak the knob. This pedal is kind of designed to where it can be used to turn on as a boost, or it can be one of those always on pedals. And I tell you, when you get to playing with this, it kind of like you almost want two of them, because you almost want to use one of them as an always on pedal, because sometimes when you turn off the pedal, you feel like a little bit of the life and vibrancy of your amp kind of goes away. But the way this pedal works is it's not a distortion pedal. It's not an overdrive pedal. What it is it's more like a clean boost with maybe just a little bit of hair on top of it, but not much, just very, very, very little. But what it does is it increases that signal and slams the front end of your tube amp really hard and drives it into distortion. It can take a very small amp and make it sound huge. But you know, I think I've rambled on about this long enough. We're going to turn it up a little bit. Hopefully I won't be distorting too much. And that's our clean signal. So like, you know, if I want to use this as a 2-channel amp, check my thing here real quick, it'd be more like... And you know, channel 2 would be more like... Sounds very natural, because actually the distortion is really coming from the amp. This thing is actually just taking the clean signal and just increasing it to the point where it's just hitting the amp a lot harder. And to have a little bit more fun with it, what you can do is, I'm going to turn the volume of my amp down. I'm going to crank this up, and I'm actually going to just inch the volume of the amp up to where I want it. Whoop, turn the volume of this back up. And you get a pretty big fat. Turn it down a little bit. And you can get that out of this too. And then once again, this is just a clean channel and the Rangemax Performance Booster. Now, I want to kind of give you an idea of what that sounds like using a single coil equipped guitar, because you know, with the single coil you're going to send a slightly less distorted signal. I think it sounds, to my ear, I like it better with the single coil, because I can get just a little bit more range out of the pedal. We got then we hit it with this and we get more of a... And all of a sudden you notice that you go from that much thinner Strat, I mean, it still sounds like a Strat, but you go from that much thinner to another thing is using it this way, you know, you're still retaining a lot of the dynamics that your amp has. You know, like with some pedals, there's so much compression that gets added into it, you start to lose your playing dynamics. You won't lose that when you're using something like this. You know, it's going to be like, you're still going to get the... Now, I'm going to take it crank that pedal wide open, and we're going to dial down the volume on the clean channel of the amp. Well, actually the amp only has a, you get a nice little I'm going to introduce a mild distortion. I'm using here is going to be a Wampler Sovereign distortion pedal, just set up for mild gain. Now we hit that with the Rangemax. So you can tell that you can use this really to boost. You can use this to boost, you know, the front end of a distortion pedal, just to give it a little bit more life and a little bit more juice. Now, just to see, let's max the pedal out while running it into the Wampler. And to me, that's even better. So now you can take a clean amp, one mid-gain distortion pedal, and this, and now you have a 3-channel amp easy. You have your clean, actually you have a 4-channel amp. You have your clean, you kick on this, you have your just slightly haired, kick this off, kick on this, you have your mid-gain, leave that on and kick on this, and you have, you know, almost into your, starting to get closer to your high gain region. And you're doing that with 2 pedals and a clean amp. And that's not, you know, that's not bad. It's a very versatile pedal. I'll give you some of the specs on the pedal. Now what they basically did is they took the design of the Rangemaster, the Dallas Rangemaster treble booster, of course, which I've already stated here 100 times. And they've pretty much used some of the best and, you know, high-end components. We're talking silver-plated Teflon-coated wires, switchcraft connectors, select signal path capacitors for optimum tone. There's a very low noise ratio from it. It has plus 24 dB. The most important, it has a low impedance output buffer, which allows this to drive long cable runs without signal loss. You can also set this pedal at the end of your pedal board because of that buffered output impedance. You can put it at the end of your pedal board, and you can use that to restore any signal loss that you've lost in all the cables that you've run to and through all these pedals. So that, you know, that's pretty good too. It's hand wired. Just a regular 9-volt external input voltage, center negative. And these run about $179. So, you know, basically what this pedal allows you to do is it's very transparent, so it doesn't color your signal. It just gives you more. It gives you more of what's coming from the guitar, and it gives you more of what's already in your amp, and it just takes what you got and makes it bigger to my ear. It just makes it better. We'll give you one more example of that. We'll take an EWS Brute drive. This is the Eric Gales version. Here's my clean signal. closer to our. This will be with the Eric Gales pedal on. Still, by far, my favorite way to run this pedal has just been as just a more switch for my amp. Like when I'm clean, like here's me with the Strat in the 4th position. And of course, my other favorite way, as I showed you earlier, is when I turn this down a little bit and I dime the pedal. I want to also say I really like the fact that he named his pedal a performance booster as opposed to a treble booster, because I really think performance booster is a title for the pedal that is closer to the truth than the original treble booster moniker, because I really think that it really takes whatever you have, whatever you feed into it and whatever you feed it into, and it just takes that. You know, it just takes that and makes it more. But anyway, like I said, this is Gil H2O. This has been Gear in Review, and this has been the Rangemax Performance Booster by MegaTone amps. Check one out. $179.